Hey there! It is Sunday in America, and I know that it's not saying America. I know that that's controversial. I just want you guys to know. I use the word America for a real reason, just to get sort of like political here for a second. Like, I am culturally aware. I know that this is the United States. And maybe for some of you this is news. It was really interesting when I was in Nicaragua. You get a map of North, Central, and South America, and what we call in English the Americas. It just says America at the top. Hey, Kevin, Katarina's here. So I was just starting off there because I know that I titled this video something like, this is the most depressing hour, or the worst time of the week, the most depressing time of the week in America. And I just wanted to speak to some of the people that I'm using the word America on purpose as like a cultural umbrella for why we're depressed at this time of day and this time of the week. So Sunday at noon is the most depressing hour in the United States, in what I'm calling America for the purpose of this video. Because, why? Saturday's over, you ran your errands, you had your party, you played golf, right? Maybe you went to church, and now there's nothing facing. This is the moment where you confront your heart and your soul and your life, and you go, oh no. Apparently, most of us go, oh no. So I think this is just a spectacular time to check in with yourself and go, how am I feeling? And then, of course, also, we're going back to work on Monday, right? I discovered this thing about myself recently, which is that I was doing this since I'm an entrepreneur, so I can make my own schedule. So I had this real commitment to, I take weekends off, right? And then I realized that I was having a really hard time launching myself again on Mondays. So I just said, forget that. I'm going to just work whenever I want to. I could take Mondays off if I wanted to. And I see that it's keeping me in a better place. Like, even me as an entrepreneur doing what I wanted to do with my life. Hey, Melinda. Hey, Liz. Even though I was doing, or thought I was doing, what I wanted to be doing with my life, I wasn't doing it in a way that gave me this feeling of like goodness. I would get depressed still, even after I was like not working for anybody else, doing my own thing. Noon in the United States, most depressing hour of the week. And so I just say, let's use it as an opportunity to check in and see, okay, if I'm not awesome, why? And it could be something really subtle, like, you know, that visual. I love this idea that if you're starting off in a ship sailing and you just shift your route 1 degree, you wind up in a completely different place when you land on the other shore, right? That's interesting because we look at, like, I got to make big changes. Like, people, you know, you get depressed on a whenever it is, Sunday at noon, for many people, and you're like, I got to change everything. I hate myself, right? All of that stuff. But really, maybe, like for me, I realized I need to work on the weekends, just a little something to check in with my work so that it doesn't start to feel like this pressurized situation, so that like, Sunday it's leading back to, am I totally prepared to show up fully on Monday? And then Monday was really like a slog because like I'm trying to like start up and get to momentum from total inertia, and that's hard to do. So I think what happens, and I got this statistic originally about this time of the week being the most depressing in the States, from a book on happiness. And I'm not talking like, oh, I'm so happy all the time, like some superficial thing. I'm talking like that bone deep, soul deep, like I'm good feeling. So sometimes it's just like a slight course correction. Like for me, I'm like, nah, I actually have to work on the weekends. That's totally counterintuitive, right? And I find that that's really true with my clients. Like, they find something's not working. It is usually a small tweak, very specific to them, and totally counterintuitive to what the rules will be that they'll tell you. Like, for me as an entrepreneur and life and liberation coach, it's like, you've got to take time for yourself, take the weekends off. And it didn't work. It was not working for me. So when you get depressed, you want to check in and see, okay, not like you don't have to be happy-go-lucky, but you have to feel like you're on your right path, living your right life, because your soul is sending you messages all the time. And when your soul is sending you the message that something's not right, it's really worth paying attention to. So I would say that's probably one of the biggest things that I do with my clients, right? Is just like get them to start listening to the messages, and then figuring out what the messages mean, because like I just said, sometimes it's totally the opposite of what they, quote unquote, will tell you. What else did I want to say? Oh, so I'm really sick today. I have a cold, like just terrible. Even talking out loud this much, I'm like, oh no, I'm getting all stuffed up. And what's interesting for me is I woke up in the middle of the night with a terrible sore throat. Like I couldn't swallow, it really hurt. And then I was a little better this morning, but I couldn't get out of bed. I skipped church. But I promised my mom, she runs a store. If you're in the area, she has this really cool store in Andes, New York. And there's a festival happening in Andes today, and she wanted to be able to leave the store and go to it. So I'm going to go sit in the store. And I wanted to make sure that I could do that for her. And I was like, I'm really sick. I've got this thing that I need to do. It's like a half-hour drive from where I live. And I'm fine with it. I'm like totally happy about it. And so I remembered, wait, this is supposed to be the most depressing time in the week, and I'm sick? Why am I not depressed? Because I'm on my right path, right? So your life might look like, oh, you've got a cold, or, oh, Natalie, oh God, how could I forget her name? She wrote the book, Writing Down the Bones. She's a writing teacher and writing, I guess today we would call her a writing coach. Help, her name is totally eluding me. So Natalie somebody from Writing Down the Bones, she has this great quote where she's like, you're going along fine in life, and then it's something like, you stub your toe, you drop a jar of applesauce, or you die. I love that, because haven't we all dropped the jar of applesauce? So you might have a moment where you cry, you're like, why is this happening to me? But if it sticks longer than that, you need to self-reflect and look at, hey, Rich, happy birthday to you. Rich just turned 50. Ellen Goldberg. Ellen says it's Natalie Goldberg. Thank you, Ellen, and hi, Teresa. So I see a bunch of people tuning in. It's a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. If we're all on Facebook and you're here on this video, there's got to be something here, and something in that fact of that noon-ish on Sundays is the most depressing hour in America. And I really think it's because we're coming out of the distraction of Saturday, running errands, doing stuff, and into like the cold, hard, structured, you've got to do something reality of Monday. And we're right in that middle space. And so if you're not feeling like, it's cool, I'm on my right path, even though it's Sunday, or you have a cold like I do, or you dropped a jar of applesauce like Natalie Goldberg says, or whatever it is, if you can't quickly access that, no, I'm good, in the midst of life and life's chaos, then it's time to self-reflect and look at, okay, I've got this little pocket of time. It's showing me, it's self-reflecting to me like something's not quite right. And I'm telling you, it might be a very slight tweak that you have to make, like me deciding I need to work over the weekend. I'm trying to think of any other examples from clients. I've got a cold, so I'm probably not going to come up with anything today. But I just want to say this, that the solution is acknowledging, number one, that you're not feeling all the thing. And again, that doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm living my best life. Because your best life looks messy sometimes, right? That's why I often call it your right life. And then you want to start to like listen in, like what's the message here? And sometimes it's totally counterintuitive what you're meant to do. Like me, oh, I need to work on the weekends and now I feel much better. You might need to make a bigger tweak, like figure out, wait, my job isn't quite right or my relationship isn't quite right. But usually that's not the case. Normally it's like a slight tweak. Like I had this client who I posted about her last week, actually. She was like, oh, God, do I need to lose 30 pounds, leave my husband, quit my job, buy a new house? What do I need to do? And then it was like she just wasn't spiritually tuned in. And honestly, I see this with the people I work with. The main thing that the people who come to me for coaching are seeking is permission to be more spiritually connected and to listen to their inner voice, or the voice of God, the voice of their soul, however you'd say that. So if you're feeling less than like awesome, and again, you could have a cold, you could have dropped a jar of applesauce, it doesn't have to look great, but it has to have that centered feeling of rightness to it, then it's time to just take a deeper look and start to figure out what the messages are. And that's something that, somebody maybe, like I'm saying, I help my clients figure out what those messages are because they're often not clear. You're like, wait, does this mean I need to quit my job or does it mean that I need to sleep more, right? I mean, you never know. People get really interesting, usually very simple and very specific individual answers. So find someone who can help you interpret the message that you're getting. And permission to just make those tweaks and self-reflect and make those shifts, all right? Because that's also something we don't have a lot of permission for in this country. It's like, no, distract yourself, right? It's like these pasted on solutions. And so I'm saying if you keep coming to that place of like, I don't know, it's not quite right. Usually there's some kind of a small tweak, but it's a solution that will come when you get more connected to your inner self. I got to go see my mom and help her out in her store. And just looking to see if there's any other comments here. Guys, I'm just popping in to do a quick Facebook Live every day. That's my plan right now. Wait, Ellen says something. Overwhelmed, depressed, has to work, decided she needed to really be slowing down and stop thinking, Ellen. That's brilliant. That's true for most of us. And Ellen, I remember once you said something, a quotable quote to me. You said, I realized I need to stop trying to figure it all out. So I think that this is a reflection of that epiphany that you had. Hey, Jenny, great to see you here. Let me just read the rest of what Ellen says. She said she realized she needed to be slowing down and stop thinking. So she's meditating, walking slowly and deliberately. She's also healing from surgery. And specifically today, not thinking of what I need to do, and that it's a big healing for her today. That's huge. Good for you. And I really do see, my radio show yesterday, Friday, was all about inspiration. And part of the conversation was like, is inspiration doing? No. Because you look it up in the dictionary and the old definition of inspiration is like, sort of like you're being breathed and inspired divinely. And of course now we're like, it means that you're motivated to go do something creative, right? That's a lot of pressure. And that's why, again, I used the word America, and I didn't say the United States, because I feel like the word America really signifies the cultural umbrella that many of us are living under. I'm here in New York State. So that's why I use that word. And we're all about doing, but gang, you're a human being. So yeah, Ellen, beautiful, beautiful insight there. That being, motivation is doing, inspiration is a state of being and a state of feeling. And from that space of feeling and being, that's when you can really tune into what's in discord, right, inside of you, and that the answer might look totally radically different. Sometimes the answer is you got to do something. Because I'm very much a soul searcher, navel gazer, writing in my journal, sipping a tea and looking out the window kind of a person. Sometimes I'm like, oh, this unsettled feeling, could you please? Maya, like I got to talk to myself sometimes like, get up and send the email. My God, do the thing. And I notice for myself now that I'm working over the weekends just a little bit and doing these Facebook Lives every day, I feel so much more engaged, not an iota of depression in me, even though I have a horrible cold and I'm really super busy. Awesome. Cater, is that how you say your name? Welcome. All right, gang, I got to go meet my mom and help her out in her store. But I will see you back on Facebook soon. Really, I invite you, I'm excited to invite you to find that shift for yourself, to tune in to the voice of your soul, listen to that divine inspiration, and make any small or large course corrections so that you can start to feel like you're on your right path, because that is your birthright. Birthright? Hello? Christopher! So good to see everything you're up to. But we're finishing up now. All right, gang.